you were watching Perry Mason in the South Bronx with your mom and your brother, and I was watching Perry Mason in suburban Minneapolis with my folks and my brother. And here we are today. And I'm asking you questions because you have been nominated to be a justice of the United States Supreme Court. I think that's pretty cool.
I love these members that get up and say, read the bill. What good is reading the bill if it's 1,000 pages and you don't have 2 days?
Well, why has it been delayed?
Ma'am, at the LACPR is...
do me a favor. Could you say senator instead of ma'am?
Yes,
it's just a thing. I worked so hard to get that title, so I'd appreciate it. Yes, thank you.
Would you not build these roads and highways and bridges and sewer systems? What would you do? Would you walk away? I don't think that's a rational option. Would you not give 95% of the American people who are in desperate shape already a bit of a pay cut? I mean, a bit of a cut?
And let me say this to all of the chattering class that so much focuses on those little tiny, yes, porky amendments. The American people really don't care.
Before we begin consideration of this important spending bill, I want to take a moment.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about
homes that are occupied may see an ebb and flow in the price at a certain percentage level, but you're not going to see the collapse that you see when people talk about a bubble. And so those of us on our committee in particular will continue to push for home ownership.
Because there's the suggestion today being made that you receive more money from AIG than any other senator, and that you were responsible for the February 11th, 2009 date. And so I just, again, I just want to get at the fact that you're saying you had nothing to do with that date.
Not.
And there was nothing you were doing that was aimed at protecting AIG.
Not at all, not in the slightest. Absolutely.
Which has offices, this particular office in the state of Connecticut.
Well, it does, but the point is, when that language left the Senate that I wrote, that was not included.
Very adamant yesterday, that you didn't know how this change got in there, and now you are saying that your staff did work with the administration.
Going back and looking, and obviously, and I apologize to Ted and so forth, but the date is only significant to the extent could it be modified. And the provisions we insisted upon, as even part of that discussion, was that the Secretary, if in fact the law was inconsistent with those bonuses or contrary to public interest, which I believe this is, and ironically it's the administration relying on that section, which is using that as a means by which they can reach back and try to get at these bonuses, which I'm confident we will. So I'm very proud of the fact we wrote the language. Had we not written it, we'd be debating with it.
But you did agree to modify this to put that clause in.
Now, I don't know, not having been there and not seeing all the facts, what role race played in that, but the Cambridge police acted stupidly.
Really, a very straightforward question here, which is, will you continue to take money from lobbyists?
Yes,
or will you take this position?
I will,
Thank
because you know a lot of those lobbyists, whether you like it or not, represent real Americans. They actually do.
I believe myself that the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and you have to make your own decision as to what the President knows, that this war is lost.
My statement is clear, and let me read it again. Let me read it again. I'm sorry, I have to find the video. I was informed that the Department of Justice opinions had concluded that the use of enhanced interrogations was legal. The only mention of waterboarding was that in the briefing was that it was not being employed. When my staff person, I'm sorry, I had the pages out of order. 5 months later, my staff person told me that there had been a briefing, informed me that there had been a briefing and that a letter had been sent. I was not briefed on what was in that briefing. I was just informed.
Gentleman is not in order at this time.
Mr. Chairman,
did you have a conversation?
Mr. Chairman, the rules of the House. Mr. Chairman, the rules of the House call for an alternating 5 minutes.
Will cease.
On what time does the chairman speak?
Gentleman will
Point
cease.
of order, Mr. Chairman. On what time does the chairman speak and ask these questions?
The chair has a prerogative to, for the record, a clarification.
Mr. Chairman, where in the rules is that stated? Could I see a copy of the rule for that said? The rules of the House, Mr. Chairman.
We will furnish you with a copy.
Mr. Chairman, there are multiple members that could yield you time. I would ask that you...
I will have you physically removed from this meeting if you don't stop.
Would the gentleman from Virginia, the proponent of the motion, yield to me for a unanimous consent request to change this to a motion of forthwith so the House could simply adopt this forthwith and go to dinner?
I would object.
Well, this is now clear.
If this gentleman were here, he would be proud that he was being quoted.
He should have been invited.
Just as he would be proud.
It is condescending to me.
Just so you know, he would be proud that you were here. He's proud, I'm sure, that I am quoting him.
All that's condescending, and I don't like it. It's racial. I don't like it.
Excuse me,
I take offense to it.
Okay.
As an African American, veteran of this country, I take offense to that.
Offense at the fact that I would quote...
You're quoting some black man. Why don't you quote some other Asian or somebody?
Well,
you are being racial here.
Okay, let me be
clear. And I think you're getting to a path here that's going to explode.
I'm going to respond right now. I'm going to ask everyone to listen to what I said. First, I placed in the record the Pew Charitable Trust study. Very important study for our state, our home state of California. Then I wanted to make a point that the fact is there's definitely differing opinions in the black community, just as there are in my community.
You're speaking on behalf of the black community?
No, I am putting in the record a statement by the NAACP.
Why?
Because I think it is quite relevant.
I understand the Pew,
I think they're great
I understand
leadership.
the Pew study.
But you
why
don't
are you doing the NAA? Why are you doing the Colored People Association study with the Black Chamber of Commerce?
I am trying to show the diversity of support that we have. And I will go ahead and do one more diversity of support. The oil companies. The oil companies. I think they're an important part of this conversation. The oil companies are the ones who funded the very first CRA report that you support. I think it's important to note.
I have no idea of that.
I'm putting it in the record, sir. ExxonMobil gave hundreds of thousands of dollars for that report. So I think it's important when we have a debate here that we look at the diversity of opinion.
Senator, as we are referring to the experts, regardless of their color, and for someone to tell me, an African-American, college-educated veteran of the United States Army, that I must contend with some other black group and put aside everything else in here, this has nothing to do with the NAACP and really has nothing to do with the National Black Chamber of Commerce. We're talking energy. And that that road the chair went down, I think it's god-awful.
Okay, let me say, as someone who's married to a veteran, that has nothing to do with this conversation.
Have you noticed how much business we're doing around here? The answer is none. So there's nothing to conflict with it. We have plenty of time. Shouldn't we earn our paycheck today by doing something?
This is a gorgeous day and an encouraging day.